Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's go now to the paper corner for a review of top stories in Nigerian newspapers this morning. And I begin with The Nation. Well, the big story there is on the fallout of Saturday's off-cycle elections, and results have come out from Imo and Kogi State, with Uzodimma and Ododo triumphing. In the meantime, INEC keeps Bayelsa's leading candidate Diri in suspense as Achono Ajaka Melaye reject elections outcome. And there is, a further diagram now to show how the leading candidates in Kogi, how the numbers, how they fared with the numbers: Usman Ododo, Muritala Ajaka, and Liki Abejide, as well as, the stronghold states now, how these men fared. Other stories there: inflation rises on soaring food, energy prices, terrorists kill 100 in Burkina Faso attack, and where Boakai seek alliances ahead of presidential runoff in Liberia. And we have an update as reported by The Nation regarding the Israel-Gaza war, with heavy fighting raging near main Gaza hospital. Up above the masthead is Nigeria. This report about Naira to rebound with $34.8 billion. Diaspora remittances, customs raises exchange rate for importers, and Nigerian equities return rises to 10.7 trillion naira. Next is this Nigeria. Still on the Governorship polls, winners emerge amid protests. INEC declares APC's Uzodimma winner of Imo Governorship Election as PDP LP kick. Ododo wins in Kogi as Ajaka Melaye reject outcome. And for Bayelsa State, Diri maintains lead in that state, but result collation continues today. Nigeria's inflation rate to reach 30% by December. That's according to KPMG. Executive legislative collaboration necessary for robust fiscal policy. That's according to the Senate. JAMB welcomes Senate probe on alleged admission racketeering. Prolonged pretrial detention of juveniles harmful. That's a next year report stating that, saying it disrupts their normal lives. And on the front page of the leadership, Ododo wins Kogi, hope returns in Imo. SDP LP PDP kick, seek cancellation of results. Diri Silva no fate today as collation resumes in Bayelsa State. On Confab, Amuka Oshoba Obai Bena lead 300 editors to Uyo. Flights diverted as airplane incident closes Abuja runway. Sokoto Kemi Zamfara low in immunization. That's from a UNICEF report. Salient Times is next. Off-season elections. Ododo Uzodimma win in Kogi Imo as Diri takes lead in Bayelsa. Of course, final results in Bayelsa are still pending. And why INEC suspended some polling results in Kogi fixes November the 18th for fresh polls. Labour Party and Melaye reject results in their respective states, Imo and Kogi State. Teachers killing at last. Union resolves to reopen secondary schools in Taraba State. And man in wheelchair, ex-convict, others nabbed as NDLEA rakes in 33 tons of illicit drugs. There's a picture story on the front page of Salient Times, and that is the picture of the National Commissioner supervising Bayelsa State, May Agbamuchimbu, and the abducted supervisory presiding officer in Bayelsa State, Ibraheem Blessing Ekwe, as well as the state's resident electoral commissioner, Obo Ifanga, after Ekwe was freed. Recall that Saturday, I should say, there was a story of the supervising officer kidnapped. Thankfully, she was released, and that's the story there. The Nigerian News Direct. Off-cycle elections, INEC declares Uzodimma winner in Imo. That's still the big story, as we see everywhere. As APC leads in Kogi, ADC trails behind. Tinubu provided level playing ground in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa State. That's a reaction from the Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu. INEC unravels manipulations in Kogi, fixes fresh elections in 59 polling units. Now, Nigeria to resume production of 275,000 barrels per day as NNPC resolves Pengassan Total Energies rift. Aero aircraft crash lands as Abuja airport runway is shut down. Finally is the Guardian newspaper, and there's so many colors there, bringing in some more information to how the elections of Saturday panned out. Uzodimma re-elected, beg your pardon, Ododo wins, Kogi as Diri leads in Bayelsa State, and those are the numbers, how the numbers are playing out among all the major contenders. Other stories there, reps to launch NAS eyes for effective oversight on MDAs. Fola knocks Israel over what he calls collective punishment and crime against humanity. Imo Kogi Polls, how not to conduct a credible election. That should be an analysis. Fuel subsidy forex liberalization may drive inflation to 30% by December. And 45-year-old woman flees with daughters over circumcision rights. That's the much I have with me. Ibraheem.
Daily Trust is the first with me, and with the screaming headline, Imo Kogi Polls, Uzodinma Ododo win as Diri maintains lead. Uzodinma Ododo win as Diri maintains lead. Opposition candidates, parties kick. Election rigged, but I won't waste my time in court. SDP's Ajaka. PDP supporter killed. INEC officials abducted in Bayelsa. You see that on page 4 and 12. Below the nameplate, Nigerian lawmakers most ridiculed, says Senate President Akpabio. Flight diversion, congestion at Abuja airport, over runway incursion. I'll ensure National Assembly creates constitutional role for traditional rulers, Tinubu. And also on the bottom strip, grumbling over $54 million domestic airlines trapped fund. NNPC restores 275,000 barrels daily production. Without my actions, North would have been on fire. Matawale and 5 killed in Shagamu, Benin expressway crash. Blueprint is next. Off-cycle polls amid protest. Uzodinma re-elected Imo governor. Ododo Kogi governor-elect. Diri leads in Bayelsa. PDP, SDP, Labour Party kick in Imo Kogi. It's victory well-deserved. Meseko, APC Deputy National Publicity Scribe. Below the masthead, immigration loses 3 in auto crash on Kano Zaria Road. Bandits kill 7, kidnap many in fresh Zamfara attack. Executive legislature collaboration essential for robust fiscal policy. That's the Senate. Then court orders reinstatement payment of NSITF staff's salary arrears. Then Tinubu to declare editors' annual confab open. Israel-Hamas war. Arab Islamic nations condemn military offensive. Now moving on to first news. Kogi Polls, Uzodinma Ododo win as Diri maintains lead in Bayelsa. And the riders read, INEC adjourns Bayelsa collation to today. Massive protest rocks INEC office over doctored results. A party supporter killed at Bayelsa Collation Center. On the ear of the newspaper, Silver Camp suffers major setback as INEC cancels 24,000 voodoo votes. Off-cycle polls, INEC upholds 9,925 election results. Dinomelaye demands cancellation of Kogi poll. And Kogi INEC to hold fresh elections in 59 polling units. Kogi election rigged, but I won't waste my time in court. That's the SDP candidate. 5 die, 1 injured as car rams into truck in Ogun. Nigerian lawmakers most ridiculed, says Akpabio. Next is the Punch newspaper. PDP, Labour Party kick as Uzodinma Ododo win. Protest in Bayelsa. Uzodinma wins all local governments. Opposition rejects Imo Kogi results. Say no election took place. Diri supporters protest as Silva wins Nembe with 22,248 votes. APC defends victory in local governments. Above the masthead, Dangote refinery secures license to refine 300,000 barrels per day crude oil. You see that on page 22. VC's right, federal government reject 40% varsities IGR deduction. And then Editors Summit, NGA draws Tinubu, Ribadu, others to Uyo. That's Nigeria Gate of Editors, draws Tinubu, Ribadu, others to Uyo. You see that on page 29. Federal government aims for 1.9 million barrels per day, intensifies war against oil theft. Nigerians make unfair demands on lawmakers. Senate President, artist takes ill during church concert, dies in hospital. Israel Hamas, Arab nations condemn Gaza killings, wants ICC probe. Next is the Abuja Inquirer. Abuja slum expansion, that's a kicker, and the headline reads, FCDA blames natives. 11,705 slums removed in 2023, wants speedy resettlement of indigents. Then above the masthead, we have no upsets in Imo, Kogi, Diri leads in Bayelsa. NNPC Foundation trains over 18,000 graduates on financial literacy. You can read more on that on page 12. That's about it for the Abuja Inquirer. Next is the national economy. Kogi, Imo, Bayelsa polls. Poverty-induced vote buying, dangerous trend, observers. And then strengthening Nigeria's extension services delivery for regenerative agriculture. Off-cycle elections, hotels, others record boom in business. That's page 20. And then on the bottom strip, ensuring debit card safety growth. You can get that information from page 15 of the national economy. The penultimate paper, well, I think I still have about 3 left. Nature News is next. World awaits decision on plastic pollution treaty as INC begins meeting in Nairobi. Environment Minister pledges to complete Ogoni cleanup. You can read more on that on page 5. Abuja scrap market quarters giving 1-week ultimatum to vacate. Oyo government shuts down illegal mining site. Fact check. Is global warming truly a blessing for Africa? You can get the answer to that poser on page 19. Nature Care, stinging nettle amazing benefits. And on the bottom strip, Rwanda launches mountain bike for aspiring young cyclists. Dangote refinery secures license for daily crude processing. Daily Independent is next. Naira suffers pushback amid fresh CBN rescue attempt. No economic manipulation will make Naira rise. Analysts say Nigeria must first fix fundamental issues to get results. You can read more on that from the Daily Independent. Bayelsa, Kogi, Imo, Kogi Polls. Serap asks INEC to identify, arrest sponsors of electoral offenses. NNPC restores production of 275,000 barrels per day. Settles Pengason Total Energies rift. Federal government has achieved a lot in fight against oil theft. Defense Minister. Off-cycle election. Ododo wins in Kogi. Diri coasts to victory in Bayelsa. PDP, SDP call for cancellation of Kogi election. On the bottom strip, man who sells illicit drugs in wheelchair, ex-convict. Others arrested in NDLEA raids. Page 8. Oba of Benin urges Cardoso to fight corruption in the CBN. And Jam to Senate probe us on alleged admission racketeering. That's on page 6. Above the masthead, re-elected Governor Uzodinma says he has been vindicated. Says no candidate has won 27 local government areas in history of Imo polls. Labour Party rejects results, heads to court. Annual confab, Amoka, Oshoba, Obaigbina lead 300 editors to Uyo and Tinubu to declare conference open. Governor Eno as guest of honor. Last but not least is Business Day. Japa Nigerians living abroad recount struggles. That you find out on the masthead, and the major headline here is the NNPC failing to meet equity payment for Dangote refinery. Rising manufacturing woes spur calls for policy rejig. An Africa Development Bank secures biggest investment commitment since 2019 for Africa projects. That's about it for the newspapers with me. And yeah, that's it for the Business Day newspaper.
Ibraheem, and as we have seen now, 2 states done and dusted. By 12 noon today, we should know the final results from Bayelsa State. But, you know, people had posited that the terrains in Bayelsa State would, you know, was one of the contributory factors to why we are experiencing some form of delay with, you know, final results or the final collation, that is. And of course, you know, yesterday, the most part of yesterday, there were protests by parties and other aggrieved persons, you know, heading to INEC's headquarters in Bayelsa State regarding, you know, perceived grievances or perceived, you know, complaints about how the elections were held in particular local governments. And that also, you know, formed some form of delay in, you know, having to suspend and then hear the protesters out and have to finally continue with the collation. But Imo State, a winner has emerged. Hope Uzodimma, first governor to clear all 27 states, all 27 local governments in his state. And it was quite intense in Kogi State when you look at the outing of the SDP, who has now said he will not be heading to the court or to the election petition to challenge the results. I think it was quite fierce. SDP got at least 7 or close to 10 you know, local governments, but eventually Ododo emerged winner. Ododo of the All Progressives Congress emerged winner.
Yeah, that's right. But when he said that he wouldn't be contesting the election results, I felt, I said, but he added a caveat, except my party wants to go. So
and they're already kicking. They're already kicking.
Rest assured that the party will definitely, you know, go to court, because it's one thing for the politicians to say, I want to run for election. It's another thing for them not to win, but they will still say, no, I want certain places, and it was manipulated.
And you're right. We saw that in Kano. The APC candidate had, at a point, congratulated the NNPP winner.
Right.
And, you know, eventually he headed to the court, and we are still awaiting, you know, the court's final decision regarding the governorship election in Kano.
And I also want to recognize the fact that, you know, most of these candidates, they sent their appreciation to the Nigerian police. They said they were professional in their outing, the military, the security agents. And some analysts felt, okay, because it's just 3 states for the off-cycle election, maybe that's the reason we have that concentration of security details. But then, whether we have the concentration or not, they were professional in their outing, you know, give or take. So it's a good one that we are moving forward, although the glitches there, the fact that some election results, results were pre-filled in some local governments which have now been suspended. You know, it's really a setback for the image of the Independent National Electoral Commission. And I posed a poser to one of my guests on the show that, okay, fine, if we are saying INEC is complicit or INEC has done something grievous in this regard, is it about INEC as an institution or about the people who are employed to carry out all of these, you know, duties? It is about us. They didn't go out to bring anybody. It's all Nigerians. So if we are doing this, although INEC will be blamed, you know, on a larger scale, but then it's still us Nigerians that are doing this. So I feel it's better if we are calling for a better nation, calling for a good nation, integrity in our elections, and also carrying out our duties diligently. We should do things, you know, the right way, so that at the end of the day, that glory will come to us, and not just the institutions that will be blamed outside of the country, both within and from outside of the...
Absolutely, you know, because all that we see is a reflection of who we are, the politicians, you know, all the dark sides that we see in the system, you know, hence the calling for a complete overhaul of the system.